What's up? What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another video on the channel. We're here with Project Quantum CEO Fraser. What's going on, dude? How's it going?
All right, are you sure you're recording?
I'm positive. Guys, when I tell you, we've tried this 3 times. It's been about 3 times now, but hey, if you've come to any of my live streams, you know the technical difficulties are a staple on the Tyler Hill Investing channel. But we always make it work, and we're here today, of course. Now, you guys do know, if you don't know what Project Quantum is, I actually did post a video on them. Had to be about 7 days ago now, roughly, where we talked about what the project is, what the fundamentals are, a lot about it. Many of you, of course, did seem to enjoy it as the price did skyrocket, as many of you did get into it. And so I felt it would be a really good idea to just bring Fraser in today. He can kind of give you a lot of more information from the source, what we can expect going forward, what makes Project Quantum different, and a lot of the things like that. So Fraser, the floor is yours. I guess we can just kind of start with where the project itself started, how this whole thing came around, and you can give us just a little look into behind the scenes here.
Well, I'm so technical that I'm sitting here playing with my mouse because I was like trying to do something to bring up some notes, and then I was like, mouse is dead. But yeah, don't let that be a reflection. But yeah, no, like this, like I suppose like it's fun. The relationship that me and Tyler have is kind of just good fun. We've been trying to literally start recording this for like a good half hour, but it's been laughing. But yeah, no, like. It's nice actually working with someone like yourself who like we just get on with, and it's not like some of the people who we've like worked with who are just absolute scumbags. And but yeah, no, the whole deal with Project Quantum was literally during lockdown and everything that was going on, and I was having more time like playing games, which I've always done since I could hold a controller. Like it's always been a really big part of my life, and like Jamie, who's part of the core team, is my oldest friend in the world, along with Robbie, and so the two of us we grew up really closely together. And Magnus, who's like the principal designer, is Jamie's brother, and we all grew up playing games. And so Magnus went into doing computer games dev. I did a few years of it as well, and through lockdown, I just started to have this massive hatred for the way that games made money. So, and it was all about loot boxes or coins, and then coins and loot boxes and all this crap, and it started to grate on me. And I was doing like I've always been into crypto since like the birth of Bitcoin, like mining it when like you could mine it on like a household PC and everything was fine, and you didn't need a farm and like a direct cable straight into like the mains electric, like you didn't need all that. Like you could mine it and get some Bitcoin. But yeah, I was like doing a lot with crypto, and we're seeing some of the things that were going on, like smart contracts and stuff. And that just gave me the idea to go, why couldn't you fund using like a basic tax structure on a coin to fund the development of a game studio, and then use that token or coin that you've created in order to run the economy in the game, because that would allow players to buy into the game, buy some stuff in the game, trade with each other, and then if they wanted to leave the game, then they could. What was easy for them at that point was just to sell what they had, take the money back out that they've either made or they've got left, or whatever it works as, and then that's it, and they can pull their money back out. And then that led to this. That led to me going, right, okay, let's actually just do this. Let's make a token. Let's like do it properly. We'll get the right people on board. We're gonna like Jamie's a phenomenal story writer. He's the director for Doctor Who for the BBC, but he's also a big like film director as well. He's a really good script writer. So his creativity, along with Caitlin's, who originally sort of took my crazy idea, which was like, yeah, I know what we can do. We can make a crypto and make Ready Player One. And I was just like, yeah, that. And then what happened was Magnus. The best bit was when I had that idea, I was like, my main line into computer games, other than one of my close friends who works at Rockstar, who's a lovely guy, who I was like, we should talk about what I'm doing. And he was like, we can't talk about what you're doing because I value my job too much, and I don't want to be in breach of contract. I was like, that's fair. But yeah, so my main line was for Magnus, and I was like, I sat down with Magnus. I was like, look, dude, I've got this idea where we can fund the building and the creation of a game studio through crypto, and do the economy that way. It all should tie in. Like it's digital currency. people should be able to do this. And like he had so many reservations about everything that we were doing, like at the start, because he knew a bit about crypto. He very, very smartly had bought Ada Cardano, and I was like, I like you. I like that's a good shout right there. Well done. And so he was already in. He knew a bit about crypto and stuff, but it was just trying to figure out. And it wasn't the technical side of it. It was literally the moral side of it. Like potentially where people could lose money playing the game, and it is a factor of it. Like you could lose an item which is worth money, so it is a high risk, high reward. But so I took it to him, and he's sitting there, and we had the first meeting about it, and he was like, "No, I don't think we should do this. Like, I feel like this is a bad idea." And then he phoned me. It was like a week later, and he was like, "Dude, like, let's sit down. We're going to go through this, and we're going to take this like baby steps." Right. And I was like, "Okay." Because he was like, your idea is great, but it's completely like it's not attainable. Like if you want to build something that big, no, it's not possible just now. So he sat me down and he just asked me some really, really simple questions. And he was like, at its absolute core, what does this game need to do? And I said, it needs to have our token, our cryptocurrency at its core to power the economy, to make it fair for gamers. So they don't have like, I always look at Apex coins or V-Bucks or these things. I always look at these as a sunk cost. Because as soon as a player pays for that, that's it. Like, that $40 is gone, right? You're not getting it back, regardless of how you want to look at it. So he was like, right, well, that's going to be the core. And he was like, well, how do you envisage, like, the game? And I was like, first person, like, almost like a lure shooter, kind of like Battle Royale style, but we can't do that. That formula has been done to death. Yeah. And I was like, we need to make it different, and we need to, and I was like looking at technology, and I was like, items need to be NFTs because I want the history, like, so there's a way of like looking at game items, and like rarity comes up, like how rare an item is sort of can define its value. Right. Or like even how expensive an item is can define its value, or like where it originally came from. But what we're doing is we're sort of adding this whole other element into, which is by tracking an item as an NFT and its stats being able to update, you're able to see like the history life cycle of that item from day one to like 10 years in the future, and see who owned it, how many like kills it's got, like how long it's been lost for, all this type of stuff. So if you can imagine like NFT items in our game, like maybe like a piece of armor or a weapon or something, that could almost become like a digital antique in a game space. Right. Right. And it's so cool because you're adding this desire to own an item, a digital item based on its history as well now.
And I think
and no one's done that before.
Yeah, that was something that I kind of mentioned in the video we made, because we see a lot of these different games that do come out within, whether it be the crypto space or not the crypto space, that you don't really get to see the history of maybe the characters sometimes, but not necessarily the history of the items. And whenever you can do that, one thing I like about that is it creates a much more immersive idea of like, okay, I actually own these things. You know what I mean? Like, I actually own this. I own this weapon. I own this piece of armor. And it's cool, too. I think about it like maybe one day y'all start doing some type of championships, or you start to do something like that. You can see, like, this piece of armor was worn in this. And so it creates not only an ecosystem where there's value dependent on rarity in the game itself, but there's also value included through the idea of, like, who's had it, what it's done, and what the history behind it, just like real life. And that's something I like about that. Because
it might not be the best or the most powerful item in the game. Right. Like, it could be one of the worst, but it could have been owned by some famous YouTuber, like, who played with it live or played with it in a contest or something like this. And then that's what makes it rare and desirable to keep or sell or transfer or whatever it is. So that's cool. Yeah. And like, we're really excited to bring that to the table. So, and like building the game in Unreal is unreal. Like, it's phenomenal what we're able to do in it.
Absolutely. So with all of that, you know, and kind of talking about now that where it's come from and what the vision for it is and why it is a little different, what can we expect? So one thing that I did highlight a lot in the previous video, of course, if you've not watched that video yet, go check it out. I really covered a lot of this. But
you made a video?
Yeah, the first video, Fraser. But the thing about it is, y'all are making an ecosystem, right? It's not just a game.
Yeah.
There's multiple different
No.
aspects of it. And so with that, for some of those who may have bought it last week or recently, what are some different aspects of this ecosystem that will create this big umbrella of a company that y'all are creating, and, you know, just in general? Like, what are some of the different aspects of that ecosystem?
So, like, from an ecosystem perspective, with Qubit, like, just now the uses of Qubit are limited to, like, trading on PancakeSwap and speculating for the future based on what we are doing.
Right.
And now I hope that people base what they're doing with Qubit just now on the progress that we're making, on, like, everything that we're doing, like, everything we're talking about, all of our, like, concept art and the people that we're bringing on board. That's what people should be basing on. And looking forward into the future and sort of putting us against other projects which are already massive in, like, the crypto space, like Axie or Blades or something like that. You need to just look at what it is that we're producing. So look at our concept art, look at our game design, read our game documents, our story, our lore. Look at who we're working with, and see what we are building is not anything like that.
Right.
It is so much bigger. So as part of our ecosystem, like, we're the NFT marketplace, which will be, like, at the core of the trading for this game, is already complete. But the way that we're launching that is by NFTing our concept art and start changing a wee bit from how it's been seen so far to put it out there as, like, really unique NFTs. And then that same ecosystem, that marketplace will be accessible both online through web or, like, through our app, which we'll be making as our companion app. But it'll also be the same one that's actually in the game. And, like, people will have seen, like, hopefully people have seen the bit of concept art. Like, I don't know, like, Tyler, if you can, like, throw it up at this point. And, like,
absolutely.
it's got the tower in the middle, like, in Jericho, and there's, like, the market around the side, and you can literally see what looks like a trading floor from Wall Street in the middle.
Right.
That's the point that people will, like, be able to go to access the live marketplace in the game, where they will be able to buy, sell, and trade and do all sorts with people from that point. So it's interesting what we're able to build, and it's going to be phenomenal. And no one's done this before.
Yeah.
And I quite like we're sort of, with what we've been doing, we're sort of flying under the radar a little bit. And I'm hoping that people who sort of get in on it now will look back on this video in, like, 3 years' time when the game is launched and just be like, that was a very good decision. Right. Just, like, because we've got so much opportunity and so much scope. Like, we're developing something which no one else has done, which will be launching in about 3 to 4 weeks' time. And Tyler knows about it, but you can't say jack all about it, and I'm not going to do it. But it's going to revolutionize the way in which people interact with crypto. Yeah. It's going to just make it better in every single way. And it's something that's super exciting because it was a problem that I needed to solve for Quantum. And it was like the problem and the complexity. It was an issue that we needed to get around. If I say any more about it, I'll just let the cat out of the bag. But it was an issue that we needed to get around. And in order to get around it, we could have done a number of different things, but the way that we got around it was by doing our own thing from scratch. And then at that point, once I'd done that and I looked at it and I was like, that's actually a really good idea. Like, why couldn't I, like, put this out to, like, loads of other, like, projects and things to do with the space and just be like, hey, we've got a really good solution to one of your biggest issues.
Right.
And, like, just, like, put it out there, and now, like, that's now going to be its own separate entity. It is its own limited company. That's all registered and done.
Right.
And it's like, that's going to be phenomenal. And, like, I can't wait to sit in this same position with Tyler and, like, with, like, you know, Connor and other people, like, friends of Tyler's, and just that one idea, that one thing that I'm really biting my lip not to actually say jack about just now, and just talk about it, because it's going to be phenomenal. And one of the best bits about it is that Qbit will directly benefit from its existence in a massive, massive way. So it's really, really cool. And I, like, once I can actually say more about it without shooting myself in the foot.
It's all good. Yeah, absolutely. And,
Yeah.
I like the fact that you did highlight just the fact that you guys do a lot of your own things, right? You know, a lot of the different crypto projects that we do see nowadays are doing something very similar. Like a lot of them have very similar outcomes, where they want to go, what they want to do, the things they want to release, and the ideals and just morale that they have. It's all about the same for the most part. There's some outliers that do better than the rest. And, you know, that's something that's probably one of my favorite aspects about Project Quantum. And I just maybe want you to touch up a bit on just that process, right? Because a lot of people do, you know, when we see these crypto projects, they're trying to rush these things out. And they're trying to just copy other people so they can rush it and get as much progress out as they possibly can. And so you guys have done a good job. Yeah.
Yeah, like, we won't put stuff out. Like, we have a ton of stuff. Like from running about in maps and testing mechanics and all this type of stuff. Like, we have all that. Like, I could make a video of it tomorrow and put it out. But I'm not going to, because it doesn't look the way that I want it to look.
Right.
But there's other projects, like, that might be made, like, trying to make a game. And, like, they were like, oh, look at all this progress we've made. And I was like, you got that from the Unreal Store. You got that from the Unreal Store. That looks shit, and that looks worse.
Right.
And then, like, people, but the annoying thing is, like, people see this video and they're like, oh my god, this is the next big thing. And it's like, that's not the next big thing, because they're going about it the wrong way. Which means if they're going about it the wrong way now, they're going to be going about it the wrong way in the future.
Yep.
And it's so many projects are the same. It doesn't, like if you take gaming out of the equation, and we just, like, if we look at any project, and we had to do the way that we did Quantum. Like, we launched the token in order to get the seed money to develop and fund what we were doing. It was kind of like crowdfunding. I was looking at crypto in the way of crowdfunding instead of using Kickstarter. Because with Kickstarter, like, you know, people put their money in, there's no guarantee they're going to get anything. They could lose it all, and then that's it.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that. So the way that we're doing it with this, like, using the crypto, is it's like done, it's almost like a faith and belief, and, like, here's the progress that we're making. We're taking you on the journey, you know, stick with us, diamond hand it until the end, and it'll pay off. Right. You know, but it gives people the access to go, I don't really like what they're doing, they're not adhering to what they're saying, I'm going to put my money back out. And that's fine. Like, that's absolutely fine. That's the nature of crypto. It's the nature of having an open market. Right. But I prefer that because it falls directly in line with our principle of the game. Sure. Like, I want people to be able to put their money in and then take it back out.
Right.
Like, that's the whole point. And we just make our mark just on the tax. That's how we operate.
Right. And it makes sense. It does, for sure. And I like the fact that what you've done is there's not been a focus on, okay, we want our price to skyrocket today. That's never been your idea. Like, I remember when the first time I talked to Fraser, had to have been like 3 or 4 months ago now, and cryptos were kind of fluctuating, not doing the best. I messaged him. I'm like, hey, man, like, how y'all doing? I know the market's kind of crashing right now. He's like, we don't care. Like, the price right now has nothing to do. He was like, because I know when this thing is fully developed and when it's ready to go, that we will be so different and so much better than so many other people in this space that the price right now will be completely insignificant. And that was the moment that I was like, oh yeah, we got, like, I have to show the people who are watching this,
that's legit the thing though. Like, I watch what BNB is doing. Like, I sell our BNB and, like, put it into BUSD and pull it back out, depending on, like, whether, because, like, I could swing trade that all day long.
Right.
Like, because it's relatively easy if you know how to read a chart properly. And luckily I have 2 fantastic analysts that work with us who give me all the information I need, and they're, like, just 2 of the best dudes. And like, for me, with the market price and everything, I genuinely don't care. Like, I really don't, because it doesn't affect what we are doing, and all it means is that all we see when the markets go down is that you see all these other projects just, like, vanish into the dirt, and they disappear because they have no other revenue stream. Like, our revenue stream is the game industry.
Right.
Like, that's what it is.
For sure.
So we're able to go and look like exactly what we're doing just now. Like, we're meeting with, like, venture capitalists. We're meeting with big investors who are looking to pump money in to gaming. But then the massive bonus for them as well is that crypto just now, as it will be on the up, is a hot topic. Yeah. Because more and more people are adopting crypto. So these guys are looking at it twofold, because they can both put money in and get shares of an actual business, but they can also get, like, a percentage of the minted coin. So as our work, which is funded by them, goes up and it comes out and it goes public, you know, they're benefiting not both from the share price of the company, but they're benefiting from the price of the coin as well, in a massive, massive way. But we help them control that, because there's like, you could go like, oh yeah, we'll give you like 2% of the coin, and it's completely unlocked right now.
Yeah, right.
Feel free to go and have a wee Dumpasaurus on it.
Right.
Like, so that's the thing. Like, we'll help investors control that, because we don't want them dumping their coin and like wrecking their own bags. Like, we'll vest it for them. We'll show them the right structure for release, like the right points to release, all these types of things where it doesn't impact the market in such a way.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like, for me, I genuinely don't care what the market does, because we're just working, and we're working non-stop. And we took on, like I was telling you earlier, like we took on this woman to help us like become more organized and really understand like what we're doing on a daily basis, because my life went from like being like fairly hectic to mental to now like I've got problems. Right.
Well,
and it's like with the new project, like we were talking about, like, which we'll talk once it's out there. Like, we're not doing that in the way that we did Quantum, or that 99.95% of crypto projects do what they do, where they they make a token, they go like, and I could probably guess, like 99% of them are gone, we're going to build an NFT marketplace, and it's going to be really good. And it's like, how many NFT marketplaces do there need to be in existence, right? Like, it doesn't. Like, maybe there's going to be like some specialist ones like ours, which is dedicated for our game and for game art, and like artists, because we're going to like be pulling on like artists from like other games and like to present their work and all this kind of stuff. So it's going to be kind of cool. But it's like, we're not doing the new project back to front. Like, we're coming out the gate with it finished, basically. Like, we're having the MVP done, all looking beautiful, all looking pretty, all working, and then we'll slowly start adding some features to it. So it's not like these other ones where they like make a token, promise the earth, don't deliver in like 6 months, and then vanish into the dirt. Like, we're just coming out and going, here, it works, come and play. Like that's what it's about. It's totally back to front. Like, for crypto, it's totally back to front.
Well, I've noticed with your community though, that's a very common ideology amongst the majority of qbit holders, is that they're looking at qbit as, okay, I'm looking at this less as a, okay, can I flip this? Can I buy it now and sell it in a month or so when it's making money? And a lot of people, and those people who are watching it, will start to get a realization that it's almost like an early investment into a company that has really, really big things on the horizon. You know, because you watch the price of qbit, it's not super volatile. It doesn't do all types of crazy things, because a lot of the investors, a lot of them are people who understand, I'm buying this now based off the progress we've seen already. That progress has no reason not to continue. And once all this progress meets at the end to create what they're saying that they will and provingly are doing, then that is going to be something that's bigger than the majority of what we've seen within this space now. And that's one very appealing thing. It's something I've noticed that's different about Project Quantum, that makes it different, is that there are those true hodlers, right? Those people, you know, there's always the hodlers within this space who say, I'm going to buy it.
Community's amazing.
Right. And
it's amazing.
60 days later, they absolutely hate the project because it's not done much. It's not done much. But what I'd like to see, and you know what I'd like to see going forward, is just that so many people within Project Quantum do understand that they're so early on something that is doing big things, that it's a very stable, very not toxic community, and it's definitely something appealing that it is so different from what we see a lot now. And so that kind of leads me into the next question that I have for you, is just, and we've kind of hinted at it and talked about it a bit, but from your perspective, what do you think makes Project Quantum, say, different in a way than say some of these other different coins that are producing games or trying to make those games, whether it be fundamentally, whether it be ideologically in terms of, you know, what the idea behind it is, or just purely what makes the game different than other games itself? You know, just your opinion there.
Well, like, Quantum is different. Like, if we look at it from a crypto perspective, Quantum is different because it's not a pump and dump meme coin, which 95% of BSC is. It's not like someone creating like an NFT marketplace to sell bullshit through. Like, that's not what it is. Like, we use the coin to fund the development of a physical game studio where we now have probably close to about 20 people or so, like, full time, like, working, creating an amazing title. And that's ultimately at its core what makes it different from most other like coins in the space out there. it's different because like we're producing a physical product or like a physical virtual product, a game, which will harbor and use this token to act as part of its ecosystem. So it's actually got a utility, and it's not just a utility of crap. Like it's not like here, buy my like 10 pixel NFT for $20,000.
Right.
What?
Absolutely.
Like that blows my mind. Like some of the crap that sells. But yeah, anyway, like, and from like if we look at it from a game perspective, the game perspective is like it's kind of the same because so many games, AAA titles or indie titles, and it's always the same. They like to have this control aspect on their player base where they have to spend, $20 buying the coin of the game. But we don't want to do that. Like, we want people to be able to freely trade with each other, create their own price point for items. Like, we're not going to control, like, how much something is going to be worth. Like, people will define what something is worth. And like that's what makes us different is that we are going to be the first AAA title that is powered by crypto. So, and one of the interesting and fun aspects of what we're doing, excuse me, as well is because we're the first to do it, and one of the biggest challenges that we have to overcome is literally taking like your wallet and integrating and putting it into the game, and like creating the system to make all those calls and all those functions and everything work. Is that we're going to take that as its own element and wrap it as a plugin and then sell it to other games companies, like for Unreal. Because as we're working on it and perfecting it and putting it all together, being able to sell that to other companies is huge. Because we just license that out at that point. Like we license that technology out to them, and it gets them into crypto. Like, it takes them and it shows them that this is an accessible way of A, making money, but B, making your game fairer for gamers. And, like, that, to me, is worth its weight in gold all day long, being able to do that. And just, like, spread the word, get more companies, more gamers into crypto, and get them using it as their ecosystem.
And I think it has to be a great time. I would say the next couple of years will be very... very revolutionary with the gaming crypto space. And we've seen some of these projects that have come out recently and, over the last couple of years or two, that they're games and they're decent, but they could definitely be better. But considering the fact that they're really the only ones out there, that's where people will just deal with it. They'll deal with it just being an okay game because it's one of the only like earn the plays or looter, that style. You know what I mean? And I think the fact that y'all are creating something that will be so firmly developed that it'll be one of the first looks that people get within the gaming space to be like, okay, I can actually play a game that I would play without crypto, but now I can play it with crypto. And the things that I'm buying in this game, I actually own. And the appeal there, I think, it's so much different than so many other projects. It's probably my favorite aspect of it because you're not just settling for less. You're not settling for, okay, let's get this out as fast as we can, because since there's not really any other ones, there'll be popularity to it. Because realistically, a project like yourself will come around one day that puts something strong out, and then everyone's on that one. And I love the fact that y'all have accepted that, and you don't mind. Like, sure, if people don't necessarily want to be in a project, or if someone's like, oh, I don't want to wait that long, that's not the type of person you wanted from the first, and in the first place. No. And so it's fantastic, and that's definitely that's amazing. And I like those fundamental differences because I think that's one of the most appealing things that people have noticed, especially from my channel. And so with that being said, coming up on towards, man, we're already pushing about 30 minutes here. You guys should know me and Fraser, we talk for hours when we talk, but I know people are going to have to go soon. So I guess just the overall idea, now that they've kind of gotten to have a look at the origins of this thing and some of the differences from your side of the story, if there's anything you wanted to say to those people who may just have bought it a week ago in terms of, what they can expect from you, why they should stay invested, why they should maybe buy more, or anything like that, of course, it'd be great to hear from
you. Yeah, well, like, to look at what we're doing, this is the first. Right. This is the first time, like, a proper game, which will be across PC, Xbox, and PS5, is integrating crypto. And is going to be the first time that it's been done by an independent studio which actually gives a damn about the gamer.
Right.
Because, like, the chance of watching EA integrate crypto is pretty much nil, unless they want to accept it as payment for their loot boxes. Because if they lose that element of control, then they have no control over their player, but right now they do. They have, like, a monopoly system over it. So yeah, and like you just need to look at all the people that we're working with, that we're bringing on board, who are making this game with us. So it's like Shadi Safari, One Pixel Brush. Like you just need to look at the titles that he's worked on, like The Last of Us, The Last of Us 2, PlanetSide, Call of Duty, like you name it, a big title, he's worked on it. And his team are phenomenal. Like the artwork, and like now they're starting rigging and putting things together. It's starting to look just mind blowing. And like Dragon's Lake Entertainment, like look at these guys. That's our partner who we're doing development with. Like look at the games and the titles that they have worked on. So we're working with their technical directors, producers, their programmers. That's who's working alongside Magnus and Jason just now. Like we're not messing about. This isn't a small project. This isn't something that's going to last like 3, 6, 9 months and then disappear. That's not how we function. We function in a way to make a title which is going to be phenomenal on all the platforms, and we're going to bring it together. And like in the next coming weeks, like we've literally just signed and done the agreement for our game director, who's actually already been like, the fun thing about him is he's been like working with us for like last like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And he has worked on titles like Battlefield and the Hitman series and all this type of stuff. He is insanely talented, and he has a CV that's like 25 years in the industry. And he has wanted to come on board to work with us. And like, that's amazing.
That
like
speaks for itself.
Yeah, like having people in the industry with that level of experience who found us. Like he found us. We didn't find him. He came to us and was like, yeah, I really want to be part of this. Like, how do we make this happen? And like, we had a bunch of meetings. We thought we got on so well. And yeah, having him on board, and I can't wait to announce it, because we're gonna do an AMA with him and like talk about like his previous work and like show some of it off and like talk about what he's doing with the project. That's going to be awesome to put that out. Sure. But one of the biggest things that we're doing with him just now was one of the ideas he had, and it's amazingly like simple. Once I sort of got my mind around it, was we've now got all these amazing assets. So we've got these like amazing landscapes and these characters and like weapon designs and like enemy designs. We've got all this. We've got it all sitting there as 3D assets, which are all ready to rock and roll. And he was like, "You've got all this stuff sitting there," and he was like, "You've got Shadi and his like amazing team." It was like, let's make an animation and a video basically to show what the gameplay will be like or what the game will operate like. And I was like, dang. So basically like a trailer. And yeah, so that's what we're working on just now with like Shadi, and one of Shadi's really good friends was like a big animator who's won like a ton of awards for doing some really cool stuff. Yeah. And our game director is to put this together. And when we put that out, which will not be that far away, we're thinking we're going to try and put it out when we literally go into space, which is going to be in like 3 or 4 weeks' time, which is going to be like this big, massive marketing stunt, which is going to be a lot of fun, because it's not just an element of like someone going to like yay, we sent like something in space, like big fucking whip. Like we're going to be doing like a ton of really cool stuff like with that, which is going to last for probably about 18 months. And as this thing is going up into space, we're going to be revealing a whole bunch of stuff about what we're doing and what we're launching in the new project that like I was talking about earlier. Like that's all going to be part of this, and
so it sounds like there's a lot, guys. For those of you watching, there's a lot on the horizon. There's some things I can't say. You know, I don't work for Project Quantum. I'm not, on their team, but I am someone who's who's definitely been around for a long time. I've become good friends with Fraser, and so I do know a good bit about what's all behind the scenes. And I will just say there is a reason that I'm bringing this to the channel. Like that's just what I'll go ahead and say. There's a reason I'm bringing this to those of you who do support. And so, as you can see, there is a lot on the horizon. And I know that with so much, it does become hard to just read it all. It does become hard to just read the tweets in the Discord. And so I am glad that we're able to bring Fraser on. This is, of course, not going to be the last time in the slightest that Fraser's on the channel, especially with everything coming around. There's a lot of big news. There's a lot of big updates. And there's definitely a reason to stay tuned. They're doing something that's different. And there's not many projects projects that I associate my face with. There's not many projects that I will openly bring on multiple times. And if there is, there's a reason I do it. And I'm pretty sure that's becoming quite evident here. So with that, Fraser, I do appreciate you coming on, man. I appreciate you kind of breaking it down from the beginning, the origins, what the ideas are, why you're different. There's so many things in this. Of course, everyone, there will be timestamps in the description if you don't have too much time. And you can expect Fraser soon. You guys, if Fraser, you have anything else you want to say, you go ahead. You have the floor.
I literally, there's one last thing I want to say. And it's like, I want to give a massive thank you to like all of our community. Yeah. So like everyone who was there from pre-sale, who's holding, who's like active in the Telegram, active in the Discord. Because if you look at our Discord, we have some amazing members on there who have like these phenomenal ideas, and they're like writing lore about like the game and the planet, like the characters and all this stuff. That is unreal. Like, it's phenomenal to have that community. So a massive thank you to our community, but even like an even bigger thank you to like my core team, like who have come on this like ridiculous journey with me. Like Mag and Jason, Caitlin and Jamie and like Shadi and like everyone, like Colin who's like our FD, who's like all of these guys for like believing in what I'm doing, like my crazy stupid ideas that I get, which I have a lot of, and like they just allow everything to happen and they just make it all work. Like Caitlin especially, like she puts up with a lot of my crazy shit. So yeah, like I love you to bits, baby. Like you put up with a lot of crap. So yeah, thank you so much. But like one of the other things that like there's of immense value to us is our admin team, like who deal with stuff on Telegram and who deal with like stuff on Discord for us. Like we couldn't do our job like day to day, like working on the game, if it wasn't for these guys, and they are phenomenal, like every single one of them. And like Inspire, who sort of runs the show, is our like head mod, and like Kieran, who helps him out, who's like been moving house, so he's been like a bit quieter. But our mod team, our community, everyone is phenomenal, and like thank you guys so much for coming on this crazy journey with us. And like Tyler, like
absolutely,
we've got like a really cool relationship now, and it's like really humbling to like be here and talk to you and like share this with your community. And yeah, it's going to be fun. Absolutely. It's going to be really good fun.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, it's going to be a good one. You guys stay tuned. There's big stuff coming. There's a few things over the next 4 weeks for sure. You should definitely stay tuned. Keep an eye on the price. It's doing a good job, and it's not going to, what the price does right now is not going to change what the outcome of this is going to do, because it'll be so big. But I know it is fun for a lot of you who have been in, especially over the last few months. So with that being said, guys, that's going to be about it. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you got to meet Fraser, if this is the first time you've seen him, I hope you guys did enjoy. Do expect he will be back very soon, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.